Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the weekly episode of the Idiot Quilter, episode number 183 for September the 6th, 2022. Lots of things to show you and tell you this week, so let's jump right into it and start with my latest finished project, and it is right here. And it is my Halloween quilt. And you've seen this in bits and pieces before, but now it's completely finished, and I think it turned out pretty good. I love the bats in it, the pieced bats, and the color scheme. I did do a very dark purple backing for this, which I also did the binding with as well. Now that did present a problem, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but let me show you the quilting on this. So here's a close-up, and you can see that I did a spider and web continuous edge-to-edge design. I did this, of course, with my computerized system on my long arm, Lucy. And yeah, this was a lot more dense than I thought it was going to be. It took a long time to quilt this. Even though I'm using the computerized system, it still takes some time. And I went through almost a full package of black bobbins for this. And in a package of bobbins where I buy them at Whirls N Swirls, there's about 15 in a package. So yeah, very, very dense. And because it was so dense, I ran into a couple of problems. I had some problems with thread breaking here and there. For the most part, I was able to get the system lined up and back on course. So you wouldn't really notice where the thread break was. There is one spot that has a bit of an error in it, but because the quilting design is so very, very busy, you don't see it in the quilt. And also because of the colors and the color of the thread, I used a dark purple thread for the quilting on the top of this. You won't see the little oopses that happened on this. I mean, it wouldn't be one of my quilts, would it not, if it wasn't for an oops, you know? But Walter couldn't find it, so that's a good thing. Okay, so that's what the quilting looked like. And here's what I was saying about the backing fabric. I used this dark purple. You really can't see the quilting because I used a black thread. What was I thinking? Well, I'll tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking that if I do screw up on this design and I've used a lighter thread, then you're going to see the mistake obviously on the back of the quilt. So I decided to use a darker thread. Now I thought the black would show up on this dark purple. Well, I was wrong. It really doesn't show up at all. But luckily, you'll notice there is a bit of a pattern in this backing fabric. That in itself almost looks like quilting. So that was serendipitous, the way that worked out. Now, it is only a Halloween quilt. It's not going to see the light of day except maybe once a year, kind of a thing. So I'm not that concerned about it. But overall, I'm kind of happy with the way it turned out. Now, where it's sitting right now on display, I have a couch in my family room. You've heard me mention it before, where after I've finished a quilt, that's where the quilt goes until I finish the next quilt. And I sort of, instead of having, because I don't have space on a wall to display them, instead of on a wall, I use my couch. And so this one is sitting on the couch. And yes, I know it's a little early for Halloween decor, although it's not too early to start working on your Halloween projects. Believe me, it'll come faster than we think. So it's there on the couch until I get my next quilt finished, and then it will be subbed out with it. And speaking of my next quilt, well, here we go. Okay, you've seen this in bits and pieces as well, and I have finally finished the applique on it. Those pieces are all sewn down on the quilt top, and it's ready now to get onto Lucy. Now, the one thing I'm a little concerned about, and I think though I anchored them well enough, is when I put these stars and snowflakes on it, they have little pointy ends, and I didn't do a blanket stitch around these. I thought that would take away from the look. I wanted them to look like they're sort of floating there. So I used a matching thread and sewed it down with a straight stitch uh, all the way around each piece, the perimeter of each piece. But I didn't go right on those two silvery stars, the big ones. I didn't go right up into the very tip of each one of those because those are a loop and there isn't much surface area there to get a needle into. Um, so I thought, well, they'd be fine, anchored down. But after I got them sewn on and I finished all the other appliques, I got looking at it, and those edges were, those tips were kind of curling up a little bit. And I could just see when I'm quilting this that they would get caught under the foot, and that would create all kinds of havoc. So I went back and I put tiny little stitches in each one of those little tips or points to hold them down more securely. So I should be okay, I hope. Um, Anyways, you might wonder, okay, why didn't you just quilt it first, then add the appliques later? And yes, I could have done that. But here's why I didn't. I thought it would make a mess of the back of the quilt because I'd be putting the appliques on, and of course the stitching would come right through to the other side. Now, depending on the backing that I pick for this and the color of the thread, the bobbin thread, it might not be all that noticeable. And because I wasn't really going all the way around in minute detail, each piece, like with a blanket stitch or something like that, I just thought, no, I don't want to take the chance that it's going to make the back look like a mess. So I did it this way. Now, you're going to say, yes, but isn't that going to make it really difficult to quilt? And if I didn't have the computerized system and a long arm, yes, it would. But there is something on my computerized system called Eclipse. Now, essentially what Eclipse does is if you're doing an edge-to-edge design, a pantograph, you can show the computer where you have an area that you don't want it to quilt in. So, for example, on each one of these stars or snowflakes, I can move the machine before I start to quilt over to that area. I can mark a perimeter where I don't want the machine to quilt in all the way around each one of those stars in a row. When the machine starts to quilt, it'll come to that spot and skip over it. But it calculates the design in such a way that it looks like the design is underneath the appliques. Now, is this easy to do? Well, actually, it isn't hard. I haven't tried it yet with applique. I have tried it on a couple of other smaller pieces that didn't involve applique, just an area on the quilt I didn't want quilted in, and it worked. So I'm hoping, I'm taking a chance here. It should work. In theory, it should work. If it doesn't work, then it's me. It's operator error in this case. And you know me, I'm an idiot. There's bound to be an operator error. So yeah, that's what I have planned next. I'm working on a couple of other things, and I got a couple of other things on this week, so I don't know if I'm actually going to get a chance to get this up on Lucy and start working with it. But you know, it's not a perfect quilt anyways, because I've got jaggy edges. It was made with scraps, and you know, the scraps weren't all exactly the same size, like scrap HSDs. So you see right there, it's pretty obvious here. It's not so obvious when you see the quilt in real life, but it is here. You can see that intersection didn't match up. I could have made them match up. I could have trimmed things a bit, but you know, at the time, I didn't really care. I just wanted to use up the scraps. I was just playing around. This was basically an unplanned quilt. I was just throwing pieces together because between projects, I thought, well, I had all these extra HSTs, and I just thought, what the heck, let's just throw something together. I'm not too concerned about it. But it grew from there onto the piece you see now. And I kind of like it. It's a little different. It's a bit blocky, which is nothing wrong with that. I got a chance to practice my in the hoop applique and stitching appliques onto the quilt skills. So that was good. And, it's really not a quilt, it's a wall hanging. Now that brings up a problem. At Christmas time, do I have a wall to hang it on? I may be able to find a spot. I have an idea. Uh, but anyways, it's just fun to make. It's just something a little different, and it is all mine. Now, somebody asked me a week or two ago when I was showing this at various stages whether or not I had a pattern written out for this that I could share. No, I do not. Am I going to write one? No, I am not. um, for a variety of reasons. I don't want to take the time. I don't think it's that fantastic of a design. Um, Anybody could duplicate this and duplicate it better. All you need are basically half square triangles, in whatever size you want. I think these worked out to 2.5 inch squares or something like that, unfinished. So, anybody can do this. This isn't a mind blowing piece by any stretch of the imagination. So, no, I will not be making a pattern about this. But feel free to copy it from what you see on here as a picture. Not hard to do. Okay, so that is the projects I have been working on. I've started a few things that are new as well, but I'll come to those in a minute. But that takes me to what I have been up to. Any orders? Yes, I ordered some stuff from Monfil. You know I love Monfil. They're located in Quebec. Their website is monfil.ca, Monfil.ca. Monfil is French for thread. Um, Great company, especially if you're doing machine embroidery, because they have excellent threads for that at a lot cheaper price than if you're out there buying Floriani or Glide or whatever. They have bobbins, pre-wound bobbins, white and black, that fit most domestic sewing machines and in most domestic embroidery machines as well. I use them all the time. Have never had a problem with them in my machines. And the best part's the price, 144 pre-wound bobbins for about $25. You can't beat that. I mean, if you've bought any of those pre-wound bobbins by Deco Bob or whatever, you get a package of what? 12 of those for about the same price. So this is 144. Now, mind you, they only come in white and in black. But if you're piecing, I use white thread for piecing. So yeah, they suit the purpose. I use 99% of the time when I'm doing in the hoop projects or machine embroidery, I'm using in my bobbin white thread as well. Yes, I know some applications want you to match the bobbin, and those are usually in freestanding lace kind of things. Even in freestanding lace ones, I can usually get away with using a white bobbin, believe it or not. So yeah, if you're looking for pre-wound bobbins, best place I have found to go to. I bought some stabilizer there as well. Best prices on stabilizer. I bought water soluble stabilizer, which is pricey. I bought a 15-yard uh, roll uh, for $99. 99.99, I think it is. So $100, let's say. That is damn good. Okay. If I was to buy that at my local quilt store, I'd get maybe 10 yards for about $60, $70. So yeah, it works fine. Their products are quality. I have no complaint with anything that I ever bought from them. They also sell thread as well on cones. Great price. I have a ton of it. I've used it. Walter uses their embroidery threads as well. Great price, as I said before. Never had a problem in his embroidery machine with them at all. I have some too, but I don't really use them. I use them. I used my Floriani only because I started with Floriani and I have a lot of Floriani. Uh, but I would not hesitate to use Monfil's brand either. So yeah, You might want to check them out. You might want to drop them a note. Not that's going to get you anything, but it gives me credit. Uh, well, credit as in woohoo, uh, kind of a thing, that I sent you. Johnny, the owner, he is great. Absolutely great customer service. So, yeah. And they will ship to the United States. In Canada, it's free shipping over $100, and it comes fast. I usually get my order within 3 days. Okay, so yeah. So I highly recommend it. They have other things there too, for quilting and whatnot as well. They don't have a huge selection of quilting things. They don't sell fabric, that kind of thing, but notions, they do have some of those. Needles, they have that. And yeah, thread, as I said, and they have other stabilizers as well, and interfacing. I buy my battleizer by the roll from them as well, and it's always a really great price, too, because battleizer can be pricey. In fact, they sell Hoop Sisters battleizer, I've noticed. So I usually stock up on that because I do use a fair amount of battleizer when I'm making table runners or placemats or things like that, or even some of my in the hoop projects that are wall hangings. I will use battleizer, instead of just plain batting, because it lays flatter. It's a little denser than regular batting. So anyways, yeah, check out Monfil. Okay, so I also ordered, now I'm taking a class starting in another week and a half's time. Just let me see if I can find the picture here of this. And here we go. I'm just adjusting things here. So I am taking a class called One Block Wonder Panels. And essentially what it is you need 7 panels, all the same design, and you use those to cut up to make a quilt. It's a very interesting process. And you can find videos about this process on YouTube. But you have to pick a panel. And I wanted something very bright, very bold, and I wanted something, I think panels that are fantasy based work the best. At least those are the ones I've seen examples of. So I wanted a panel. I went looking for it, and I went to K&A Quilt Studio, which is in um, Ingersoll, Ontario. I reviewed them last week. Great company, great store as well. Store, it's like a warehouse, it's huge. Um, Great customer service, and they had 7 of them, and I needed 7. Um, so I ordered them, I got them, and this is what they look like. And I think they're going to make a wonderful quilt. I did, though, I cleaned them out. I ordered the 7 that I need. That's exactly how many they had, and I got them. Ignore that price you see there, because this is not K&A's website. I was just looking for a picture that I could show you on the computer of this panel. Um, and I didn't pay 25.95 Australian. I don't know why it always comes up Australian when I go to an Etsy shop. I set it to be in Canadian dollars, but whatever. This is not an easy panel, I found, to get, at least in Canada. I found it on a few spots in the States, but by the time you did the exchange rate, the time you did the shipping, and there could be duty on it as well, it was going to cost me an arm and a leg to get a couple of more extra panels. Because although I only need 7 and I have 7, I know when it comes to cutting this up, I will probably make a mistake. So I wanted a safeguard. I ended up finding a place in Canada that had it. I had to pay shipping for it. So 2 panels cost me, 2 additional panels, about $60, including the shipping, the tax, and everything like that. But I figured, you know, better safe than sorry. But this is what they look like, that I bought, and I think it's going to make a really cool looking quilt using that method that's there. So stay tuned. I'll show this to you in probably a month's time or so, because this is a 3 all-day class course. That sounded very awkward. What I meant to say is I'm taking 3 full days, but they're a week apart from each other, to do this quilt. That's how it's being run. Okay, so I got those. And I have started, I cut the pieces for this yesterday. Let me find it. Here it is. It's called Gnome Antics, and I bought it as a kit during my London Mega Fabric Haul trip from, what was this name? Country Patchwork was the name of the store. Now, it's a panel, um, and actually, that is not what it looks like. I just realized it. This is a different, it's sort of like that. Let me see. Well, what I'll do is I'll show you the actual pattern. Let me go back here. Okay. Here's what it looks like. The one I'm doing. This was the kit. Now, apparently this is a free pattern. I didn't know that, but it came with the fabric. I think I paid $123 for this. So essentially, it's two panels, both the same, cut down a little bit and sewn together. That's the center. And the rest are just strips from the fabric that they included in the kit. And on the back, they clearly identified the fabrics that you need for this. So I have done all the cutting. It's a little fancy because it's got what they call it piping strips, which I have a feeling is a form of a flange. I don't know. I'll see when I start to put it together. And the corners are mitered. And it looks like the instructions are fairly clear. Down here, they show you how to do a miter. And they give you a diagram. And so you can see this should be a fairly fast quilt to put together. Of course, I had to have it when I saw it because it has gnomes on it. It's called Gnome Antics. So it's another Christmas quilt. So I've got that all cut, ready to go, and I'm going to start stitching it together today or tomorrow. I'm working on another quilt, actually another project. It's an in the hoop, and you can see a piece of it over here, over my corner, right there on the edge, the thing with the little vine. That's just the first piece of it. It's they call it Scary Halloween or something table runner. It's an in the hoop project, and I love in the hoop projects, as you know, in the hoop applique kind of thing. And I think it's going to be really cute when it is done. I did show you that pattern last week on Idiot Quilter, so if you missed that, go back and you'll see what it looks like. So I'm working on two projects. Actually, I'm working on three projects at once. The Scrappy Christmas Tree Quilt, that's what I'm going to call that one. The Gnome Antics, and the Halloween Table Runner. Yeah, three at a time. I'm in production mode right now, I think. Okay, so that's what I'm working on. And I did buy another finger mouse. Now, I mentioned this last week that I bought this device to use on my long arm because during the course I took at Whirls N Swirls, that 3-day intensive course for using the Quilt Path program, the software for Lucy, they were using one of these and it looked very convenient. I ended up buying two because I made a mistake and couldn't cancel the other one, and I can still send it back, but I'm going to try both of them and see which one I like better, and then I'll either keep the other one or I'll send it back. I don't know. We'll see. So I am going to do a demo at some point in time. I have not got them hooked up yet. I've been too busy doing these other projects. But I'm hoping maybe this week at some point in time, I'll get them hooked up, figure out how they work, and decide which one I like better. And then I'll do a demo of them so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so that takes me to, speaking of demos, I do have a demo. I will be posting that today on YouTube, and there'll be a link for it in the show notes below. And it's how I bind a table runner with points. Now, if you remember last week, I showed you the table runner I made for my sister. It was all, I have it all done. She has it now, but it had points. So how do you bind around points? Well, actually, It's not that intimidating. In fact, it's fairly easy. So I decided to show you how I do it. Now, one word of advice here. My method may not be one that suits you, and there are different videos you can see on YouTube that will show you how to do it. So take mine, take from mine what you can, what works for you. What doesn't work for you, don't worry about it. Go ahead, check out other YouTube videos. You'll find a method that works for you the best. So here's a little teaser that'll insert of that video. Now I'm approaching this corner, so I'm just going to take my ruler again, and my 1/4-inch seam line is right here, and I'm going to line it up along the edge of this other point and just mark a 1/4-inch. My chalk pencil doesn't seem to want to mark very well. Okay, can I see my mark? Yes, I can, and that's all that matters. Now, of course, there are many ways to do it. This is the way that works best for me. Now, when I get to that line, I'm just slowing down. I want to get my needle right on it, and I'm going to tie it off. Now, some people would sew off. I just use my automatic tie-off system and cut it, and away we go. So, and you will find a link to that demo in the show notes below. Okay, so that takes me to subscribers quilt of the week, and this week's submission comes from Laura Austin. This week's creations from a subscriber come from Laura Austin, and Laura sent me 3 pictures, and the first one is of a luggage wrap that she made in the past weekend, and what a great use of your scraps for something like that. We can always use a luggage wrap, and I'm just wondering how this is attached. I see the backside of it. Did you put a plastic clip on it or some other kind of mechanism for keeping it around the luggage? But it is very beautiful and will help you at the airport identify your particular piece of luggage. The second picture that Laura has sent me is a work in progress. It's hand sewn hexies, and yes, I have tried this and I know how much time this takes, and this is going to be absolutely beautiful when it's done. It's huge. I'm wondering how many hexies are actually in this. I would say there are a lot, hundreds and hundreds. The last picture is of a present for her great niece, and it's a beautiful quilt. Your great niece should really, really enjoy this when she receives it. It's a great pattern. Again, this is one I think that could be done with scraps as well, but the quilting in it is absolutely lovely. I'm wondering if you did this yourself, Laura, or if you sent it out to a long armor, or if you did it on your domestic. By the looks of things, I'd say it was long armed. So thank you so much, Laura, for these pictures of your beautiful creations. They're absolutely stunning. And just a reminder that I'm always looking for pictures of your creations that I can feature here on future episodes of the Idiot Quilter. So please send them to me. 1 or 2 pictures is all I need, and just a brief blurb about your project, 50 words or less, and I will put it up on one of the future episodes of Idiot Quilter, and my email address is in the show notes below. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week, and this one is called Stacey Lee Creative. This week's YouTube channel of the week is called Stacey Lee Creative, and this is a great site for those who are beginners or even advanced individuals. And she has a lot of videos about doing whole quilts or doing blocks. And if you take a look at her playlist here, she has a vlog and some live streams, but she also has a mystery block of the month. She has various quilt types: how to make an American flag quilt, quick and simple quilts, small quilting projects, rail fence, etc. She also has tips and tricks about binding, about basting a quilt, etc. So there's something here for all levels of quilting expertise. So if you're a beginner, she has simple projects for that. She even has a whole playlist called Learn to Sew for Beginners. So this is really a wealth of information, and her videos are very clearly done. So check out Stacey Lee Creative. So now I'm going to take a look at what's on my future project vision board. And of course, it is the Solar Flair Quilt Kit by Free Spirit. This is a kit that I bought from Heglich. I can never say that right, in St. Mary's, the place that has all the fabulous uh, K-facet fabrics. And this is a kit that uses actually Tula Pink fabrics in it. Yes, I've gone over to the dark side. I'm going to make something with Tula Pink fabrics. Well, here's what this kit involves. This week's pattern for my vision board is actually a kit, and it's one of the kits that I bought when I did my London shopping trip. It's called Solar Flare Quilt Kit. It features True Colors by Tula Pink, and I bought this at Heglich Fabrics in St. Mary's, Ontario. As you can see, it's an expensive kit, but it comes with all the fabrics, and I believe it comes with about 15 different fabrics. If we just take a look down here, we'll go down a little further. It says 15 yards of Tula Pinks, True Color fabrics, although on the package itself it said it was only 13 yards, so I'm not sure which one is correct. Hopefully there's enough fabric to do this. This does have 32 100% cotton fabrics from the Free Spirit True Colors by Tula Pink. Comes with the complete instructions, and there's 24 full-size foundation templates because this is a foundation paper pieced kit, as you can see. And there's another shot of the actual quilt itself. It's very colorful. I think it's going to be a challenge to create because I have not done a lot of foundation paper piecing. So this is something I'm going to work on over time. Now the price, it was expensive, $269, but there's a lot of fabric in this kit. And I got 30% off of that, so it only cost me $189. If you're interested in seeing about getting one of these kits, I don't know if the sale price would still apply to it. I will put the link to this in the show notes for you. I'm looking forward to working on this, but as I said, I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge. But then again, we need a challenge every now and then, don't we? So I have posted my latest interview. It was an interview with a very interesting, very nice lady. Her name is Sheri McGill, and she has the YouTube channel that is called Lessons Learnt. And it was a great interview. She's such a nice person, and a very talented quilter as well. So here's just a little teaser from that interview. Have you ever had any desire to belong to like an in-person guild?
I've thought about it, but there's some apprehension there. I'm not sure what it is. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's, I want to be in control too much. And,
No,
you know, I, that would go over and, I don't like people telling me or strongly suggesting, that the group does a certain thing. I don't know what that is either, but
no, I,
it,
I definitely understand what you're saying.
I'm a very social person, but I have this bubble around me
Mhm.
that I with, and I just haven't really wanted to get into any, intimate groups of people just yet. Now I am attending a retreat in October, and it's a quite large one,
Mm.
and I feel comfortable with that. But I guess because there's going to be so many, I'm just going to be in my
Blend
corner
in.
of the world there and,
Right.
let it happen. But I'm looking very forward to that, by the way. And that might open a whole nother thing up to me that I realize, hey, you know what? I do need to find my local guild. I do need to form a sewing group here in my area, something like that.
Yeah. So if you want to check out the full interview, the link for it is in the show notes below. And I have more interviews coming up as well. in the next couple of weeks. But if you would like to be interviewed, yes, you, just drop me an email. It's painless. I'd love to interview you. And if you've got suggestions for others that I can interview, and I'm not looking for big names, you know that. I'm looking for people that I can help out increase traffic to their YouTube channel if they have one. They don't have to have a YouTube channel for me to interview them. But I'm finding that most of the people that I do end up interviewing do have a YouTube channel as well, or a website. So yeah, if you got suggestions, drop me a line. Okay, so that takes me to the online fabric store I'm going to review this week. And for the next little while, I'm going to review the websites for stores that I actually went to when I went on my London Mega Haul trip. And this is one that's right downtown London, Ontario, and it's called Stache Fabric and Notions. This week's online quilt store that I'd like to review is one that I actually went to during my London trip, and it's called Stache Fabrics and Notions, and it's located right downtown London. So I love the little store. It isn't very big, but it was cute, and prices were okay. The selection of fabrics in the store were not great in terms of quantity, but they did have some very nice things. But let's take a look at what they have online, because oftentimes stores have more fabric or more choice on their online. So let's see if this is true here. So let's shop fabric. And this is batik, and that was everything in fabric. And here we go. Now, these prices would be 1/4 of a meter. So 1/4 of a meter, it looks like it ranges anywhere about $18 up to about $20 or $21 a meter, which is in the ballpark. And they have 135 pages of fabrics. Let's go to the end. So yeah, they have a good selection of fabrics online. Now, what else do they have? Well, they have Shop for Kids fabrics. So they do have a classification for that as well, which is kind of cool. Pre-cuts and kits. And, well, they have a few here as well. And they've got about 9 pages of this kind of thing, of pre-cuts. And prices are what you would expect. So they're not absolutely sensational, but they are not bad either. Now, I do like this. They tell you when something is sold out. I hate it when you get something into your cart and then you go to check out and it tells you that certain things are sold out. That's a little late. This is a good thing. So let's go back up here, patterns. And they have a fair number of patterns to choose from, 17 pages of them. So that's a good selection. Notions. And what you would expect. They do sell batting, but I also noticed that they had batting on rolls there, so you can buy it, at least in the store, by the meter. Whether that's true, well, let's just take a look. Is it all prepackaged? Nope, you can buy it online by the meter as well. So a meter of Hobbs 80/20 runs you about a little less than $16 a meter. That's okay price as well. Thread, Aurifil, and $17 for a 1,300 meter spool of it. $17, that's for applique thread. 40 weight, 50 weight. Okay, prices are, I'm thinking touch high, but not out of the way. Books, classes and workshops. Now, they did have a big classroom And yeah, now, and they tell you which classes are sold out. And these are in-person classes. Oh, they're doing one block wonder as well. And yeah, and they even have a few classes doing clothing as well, and a bag class too. Okay. And they have all their particulars about their classes. So if you're in the area, you can go to an in-person class. Batting and interfacing, quilting rulers, wide back. Let's just take a look at their selection of wide backs. And not a bad selection. Let's just randomly pick here. And their prices seem pretty good. I mean, that's a quarter of a meter. So 21, 22, up to 32. No, no, I'm miscalculating here. No, it's about 28, 26 to about $32 for a meter. Don't know what just for fun is, but let's check that out. And they have zippers, wool felt balls, needle threaders, just bits and pieces of things. Might make great like little stocking stuffers or gifts for somebody. And they do have a sale item. And they have sale fabric and other things too. So the website is very nicely laid out. They have their hours up at the top for the actual store as well, but it was easy to navigate, so I like that. And oh, they have a switch here. You can have it in Canadian dollars. That's probably the default. And that's the only thing you can see it is Canadian dollars. Now I'm wondering about their shipping policies. So where do I find that? Maybe down at the bottom. Maybe in their FAQs. How do I order fabric? Shipping, here we go. Rates for shipping are as follows. So if you're in Canada, up to $25, $5.99, unless you want tracked, and tracking is much more expensive. Up to $125, $14.99. That includes tracking. Over $175 free. And it all comes by Canada Post. And they have American and international as well. So they ship everywhere pretty much. So that is Stache Fabrics, located in London, Ontario, Canada. And I've been to the store, as I said, like the store, and I like their website as well. Ooh, I don't think they have any more of that because I got the last of it when I was there. Anyways, check it out. So that brings me pretty much to the end of the episode. But before I go, a couple of announcements about upcoming events that are coming up really quick. This first one is coming up tomorrow because tomorrow is the first Wednesday of the month, and that's Craft and Chat time. So yes, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until approximately 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm getting together with you to work on whatever projects we want to work on. If you've never been to a craft and chat before, this is your opportunity. If you can make it, all are welcome. Work on whatever you want. And it doesn't necessarily have to be quilting or sewing. It can be whatever you're into, whatever floats your boat. So they say. It's a great group. It's supportive. It's fun. We have no drama conversation while we're working on whatever, and we usually get quite a bit done on whatever project we're working on. So that's tomorrow. The Zoom link for this, it is a Zoom, is in the show notes below. And those of you that are on my mailing list for Pop-Up Sew, no, sorry, for Craft and Chat, I'm going to talk about Pop-Up Sew in a moment. Craft and Chat, you will have already received your personalized invitation to come. And if you'd like to be on that list, just drop me a line and I'll add you. And I can add you to any one or all of my 3 mailing lists. Once for the retreat that I run twice a year, One's for Craft and Chat and one's for Pop-Up Sew Day. So if you want to be on any of those or just one of them or whichever, just let me know and I'll add you to it. So speaking of Pop-Up Sew Craft Day, um, yeah, I'm going to have one, I think. I know I'm being a tease here, but pop-up sew days always happen on a Saturday, and I usually don't make the decision until about 24 hours before I'm having it. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have one this coming Saturday, September the 10th, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and running until, well, I always say until I get bored, but usually that means until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You can come and go as you please. Again, it's sort of an extended version of Craft and Chat where you just work on whatever you want to work on. We usually learn a lot and have a lot of fun as well. It's very informal, so all are welcome. Now, here is the trick. I'm telling you that I think I'm going to have it on Saturday. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have it this Saturday. But the reason that I am hesitating for making a firm decision right now at this moment in time is simply because I'm waiting to hear from somebody about another event. Now, I'm pretty sure that event is not going to happen on Saturday. It was supposed to happen this Saturday. Oh, why am I being so mysterious? I had scheduled to do an interview with Zach at Kawartha Quilting, the owner of Kawartha Quilting. We're going to do an interview and we're going to have a store tour, and it's going to be great because it's a great store. Zach's and his staff are excellent people. And we had it planned earlier in the month, then we had a problem with that date. So we rebooked it for this Saturday. But the fly in the ointment was that Walter's online instructor for the sewing classes that he takes has decided that he's going to have an in-person sew day. Now, Walter said, and I need Walter, he's going to be the cameraman, said, well, that was okay. He didn't need to go to that pop-up sew day. But I know he wants to go to the pop-ups, or not pop-up sew day, to the in-person sew day with the other people that he does this class with. So I said, look, you go. I will just write to Zach and we'll make it another date. I mean, I'm sure Zach's fairly flexible and we can get around it. So that's what we're going to do. But I haven't heard back from Zach yet if that's going to be okay. Um, but I will hear from him because I sent him that email on the weekend. It was a long weekend, and I know he had a wedding or something to go to as well. So he probably won't see the email until today because they don't have the store wasn't open yesterday because it was Labor Day. And also it's not open on Mondays anyways. So yeah, but I'm 95, 99% sure that I'm going to have the pop-up sew day. So having said that, those of you that are on my pop-up sew day mailing list will get an email probably Thursday with the Zoom link for that. I will also do a special YouTube announcement on my channel about it with the link in that show note as well for it. So here's what you can do if you really want to be involved on the pop-up sew day this Saturday, September the 10th. If you're not already on my mailing list, then get on it. Send me an email now. Okay. Email address is in the show notes. Send me an email saying you want to be on the list. I will put you on the list. And when I send out that announcement, probably on Thursday, you will get it there. The other way is to make sure you've got the little bell, notification bell, turned on, that you're subscribed to my channel and you have the notification bell on, and then you'll get a notice when the YouTube notice of the pop-up sew day goes up. Now, the one thing about those notification bells, just as an aside, is they don't always work. I have this problem. I have all the ones that I subscribe to, all the YouTube channels I subscribe to, I have that bell on with all notifications. There's 3 selections you can get in the pull down menu when you click on the bell. I set it to all, and I don't always get them. And that has nothing to do with the content creators. That is beyond our control. That's a glitch in the YouTube system. And YouTube's been told about it and don't do anything about it. So there you are. So yeah, but If you have my email address, you can find out about it. Okay, so that's this Saturday, starting at 8 a.m. You don't have to be there at 8 a.m. You can come in and go anytime you want, okay? But I'm going to be there because Walter will be off on his in-person sew day, and I'll be home all by my little lonesome, and I'll be bored, so I need company. So that's why we're having the pop-up sew day. Yes, it is all about me. So anyways, before I bore you any further, I think it's time to go. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see some of you, if not all of you. Well, I know I won't see all of you, uh, but I'll see some of you on Wednesday for Craft and Chat. That link's in the show notes below as well. And maybe on Saturday I'll see some more of you, or more of the same. Doesn't matter to me. Whoever. All are welcome. On Saturday. Okay, I'm rambling. Have a good one. Bye for now.